So I watched the rest of Velma so you didn't have to. You are welcome. I want to talk about starting off about why I chose to watch the rest of the season, even though everyone seemed to jump out and bail. The main reason why is because I thought it was going to be another She Hulk experience. And what I mean by that is I thought that people were already just hating it, A, because the person is a female. Two, people were hating it because the the person was a female. Jesus, excuse my language, was a woman, and a woman of color at that. And though She Hulk is definitely not a woman of color, even though she turns green, but you know what I mean. There was a lot of man hating on the show. People who would just rip on it without really giving it a proper chance, and people who would just rip on it because they wanted it one way when She-Hulk was actually another way. And what I mean by that, in the comics, she's different than how I think people were expecting it to be. Ended up being like a light comedy drama show, a light comedy drama show, and people, a light comedy law drama show, and people didn't want that for the superhero show. I think people end up who really did give it a chance. It was just like, it was cool, you know, not really for me, but it was cool. And that's what I thought was going to happen here with Velma, was the thinking that people were just going to rip on it. Because there's a lot of times when people just rip on something without actually watching it in the first place. And I didn't want to be one of those people. So I seen the first two episodes, and I was like, this is kind of too meta to some degree. And there's proper criticism on the first two episodes, right? But like She-Hulk, I thought the episodes would get better. I thought maybe as a complete project that the episodes would make sense, that it would lighten its tone, that maybe it was trying to go for like a really big punch and then like start to slow down a little bit with everything. Well, that's what I thought would happen. So Velma's just unlikable. Like I really can't stand Velma as a character. And I'm all down for a modern interpretation of Velma. I'm down for her being a woman of color. I'm down for the other characters being people of color. But this show just it's a show that feels like what Republicans would think the leftists would make for media as like woke media. Like the right is like this is the kind of thing they want to do to all of us. And da da da. And it feels like this is like the extreme version of that. And I can't stand it. I enjoyed it as much as I could. But I overall can't. I don't like Velma. I don't like the main character. She is so selfish and narcissistic and just an overall horrible friend. And even when they are explaining her, right, her origins and how she essentially has always been an outcast, she has no real heart. And I think that's the most important thing when you see characters who are outcasts, right? That they have heart. That even though society doesn't view them as a person, they still show that humanity. And Velma doesn't show much of that. I think her caring about her mom is important, and that's a good thing. If I had to give like a good thing about the show for Velma is that she's not a reactionary character, and that she's very going forward. But in that pursuit, screws over a lot of people, and she screws over her best friend, and then for whatever odd reason, she just wants to love her best friend. It gets complicated for no reason. Like, what was happening in terms of relationship with her, building it with Daphne, right? Because her and Daphne, and rekindling the friendship, right? And then showing more emotions. And I was excited for that to some degree. I was like, okay, let's explore this. But then at the end, she just like flips the switch, and I'm just like, ugh. And then Norville is it's disappointing. The mystery isn't, the overall mystery isn't even, it's good until it gets rushed. I think with good mysteries, you need to sew in hints from the beginning that we're not likely to see and makes sense. And then when you put the whole thing together, we're like, oh, so it was there the whole time. And then maybe one or two people might picked it up, but like, I guess when I think about like a good mystery, I'm thinking about like Knives Out. Like how you can like, hints were there and you just couldn't see everything. But it still like got you good. This had a good twist, but I think that the twist just was rushed. I think there wasn't really enough to give us anything, and it's just like, haha, it's this, and then like, I guess it makes sense. But maybe they had like another episode or two to just like give more context and like elaborate a little bit more. But they don't. Ends in 10 episodes. And then the gang is like not together by the end of it. And I'm guessing like it will be by like the end of whatever season. But would I recommend this show? I know I haven't been like super in detail about the show. It's only because I just don't want to just do a whole recap. But Velma is very unlikable. I think that the best quality of the show is the art. So great to the artists and the people that worked on it. You deserved what you get. I did not see any real growth from Velma as a character. And you have to have growth. And that's the most important thing. And I don't want people to watch this show and then feel like they have to like Velma, because you're not. You're not going to. I think Norville's fine as a character. Daphne's fine. Norville, nerdy outcast, is kind of quote unquote simp or whatever. So, but overall, I think that he is a good character. I think even Freddy really went to a different route with the character. Would I have done it like that? Probably not. Make him more of a man-child, right? And that's like the social commentary, right? That he's like a baby boy, privileged white baby boy who is so privileged and that literally has not done enough for himself that he can't even cut his own food properly. Yikes. I'm guessing that like Fred probably have like a growth spurt. Cause isn't he like 6'3" or 6'2"? Like he's like a pretty built guy. And I think that the ways of toxic masculinity, right, which is also part of the social commentary, which was the thing with Fred and his father, I think that it could have been addressed in a better manner. But Fred was simply just a punching bag for jokes. And I think that he kind of, I think that he kind of is at times, right? Because he's not the brightest one. He's like the quote unquote like leader of the group, but like never really the leader of the group because everyone else like does the things when it comes to the mystery. But I don't know, man. I feel like there was potential with Fred, but got wasted. But yeah, I like Daphne. I think there is potential in Daphne, and showing her being like being able to be popular and pretty and smart, but also be like strong is also like another important thing. I view Daphne as a strong character who has her faults. There was a storyline about her trying to find her own parents, which aligned with Daphne trying to find her parents. So I feel like that Daphne with Velma. It's funny, I don't think they ever tried to relate to that in the show. But I think Daphne's probably the best character out of the four. I think she's probably the best character. And overall does have a change with within the season. Like everyone has small changes except Velma. I feel like she just reverts back to her old self. And her saving grace of loving her mother and trying to find her mother is not enough. So would I recommend this? Nah, not really. Um, well, I probably watch season 2. Unfortunately, I probably will. That's what happens with me. I like to see a show story to the end, so I probably will watch season 2. Against my better judgment. This is how I saw all 5 Twilight movies. I like to finish where I start. Most of the time. Anyways, that's what I thought about Velma. And why I watched it and tried to like it and give it a chance. But yeah, like always, turn on all 37 notifications and subscribe to the channel. And like always, you are a human being and you are loved. And like always, until we meet again.